What exactly went wrong with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League? Just about everything. What's up, everyone? Anthony Online here, and today I want to talk about Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League because it has been making some major news these past few weeks due to all the leaks, bad press, and some behind the scenes schemes. It definitely feels like any chance the developers had to make the wrong decision, they took it. Now, this game is laughably bad, and let me be clear, I did not purchase nor play this game, but I have seen more than enough YouTube videos on this topic, on this game, to be able to share my opinion on the matter. Also, a big spoiler warning here. If you're one of those few people who are actually interested in this game, you have been warned. Now, there are some inconsistencies with this game for both the game itself as well as within the DC lore. Some of these are within the characters, and it honestly gives me the impression that the developers didn't bother to make sure they maintained some continuity within the game itself. For example, when the Flash loses his thumb early in the game, but then you see him again after that point, and he has his thumb fully intact, and there's no indication on whether he can heal his missing limbs. I know the Flash can fast heal, but to heal a missing limb, no indication of that in the lore, unless Brainiac has a way to heal a limb in his costume, not sure. So there's that continuity error that they didn't put. And another issue with continuity with the DC lore from the developers is I feel they couldn't bother to pick up a fucking comic book and do some research on the source material for some of these characters. For an example, spoiler here, as I mentioned earlier, when the Green Lantern dies, instead of his ring flying back to Oa like it's supposed to, King Shark puts his ring on, gets a Green Lantern suit, immediately knows a version of the Green Lantern chant, and uses the ring to summon a giant green shark construct to attack Brainiac's ship. And then immediately after that, the ring turns on him and he doesn't know how to control the ring, and the shark is coming towards them. It doesn't make any sense at all. The continuity is all screwed up, and it does feel like the developers failed to do just the bare minimum of research to know how these characters function and the lore of these characters. A little side note from editing this video is the only excuse I can give King Shark for knowing the chant is that throughout the game, Green Lantern does say it at least once or twice. So maybe King Shark memorized the chant from the times he heard Green Lantern say it. But other than that, it's still inexcusable for him to be able to take the ring and use it for a brief moment, considering the lore and the fact that the ring should have gone back to Oa after Green Lantern died. But anyway, just a side note I wanted to share about how pathetic the developers were when it came to making this game. Anyway, back to the video. Now, the game will also throw in these really stupid jokes that tends to make fun of itself, like Captain Boomerang confused as to why Deadshot is not a white guy, and back in Arkham City he was a white guy. So they kind of try to retcon that at some point, but they don't really explain it. So there's that. There's also this joke that happens a few times where they make fun of Deadshot either not being as cool as Deathstroke or the fact that he's not Deathstroke, and they throw that in a few times, kind of throw it in your face. There's also a scene where they get their uniforms from their Arkham lockers. They get their suit up scene, and for Harley Quinn's locker, it's her nurse outfit from Arkham Asylum, the first Arkham game, which in the Arkham timeline, that happens roughly 7 or 8 years before this game. So why would it make sense for her to have the nurse outfit in her locker rather than the outfit she wore in Arkham Knight, which is 5 years before this game? Not to mention, in the beginning of this game, Harley says, "I've been locked up in here for 5 years," which is obviously when Arkham Knight ends. And this scene really was used as a kind of a joke slash a way to force Harley into deciding to make her own costume for something new, which is her default outfit for this game. Again, it's a lack of continuity for the characters in this game. And when it comes to some of these other characters, whether it's a character design or the choice of the voice actor and how the character is portrayed, some of them are really, really bad. Lex Luthor, oh my god, Lex Luthor is horrible in this game. Not in terms of him being a bad guy. The performance was horrible. Flash is pretty bad. Green Lantern I felt was pretty bad. Wonder Woman was okay, could have been better. from what I've seen and heard from all the different content creators, combat has been explained as very repetitive. It's lacking. The mission structure is the same. You repeat the same missions constantly, same few mission types, especially towards the end. You'll be doing the same types of missions over and over again. I hear the second half of the game gets very buggy and messy. There's like 3 enemy types, if that. Really shitty boss fights. The final boss was really shitty. A shitty reskin of an earlier boss, apparently. Supposedly, the final boss fight of Brainiac is just a reskin of the Flash boss, which was like one of the shittiest ones. There's a shitty excuse for the end game to basically be a multiverse content for the future for this live service piece of shit. I heard the traversal is pretty shitty for the most part, with Captain Boomerang apparently having a really interesting traversal, but Harley Quinn is just a cheap Spider-Man knockoff. King Shark, from what I've seen, is a cheap Hulk knockoff. And Deadshot seems okay for the jetpack. Seems decent. And the game is just a live service shitty experience. Live service is shitty in my opinion. I don't know why people who do enjoy it enjoy them. Like, it doesn't really work. They're shitty. They also decided to explain the brainwashing of the Justice League through these audio logs that you need to find throughout the map. And apparently they have some decent voice acting with these characters, but it doesn't really go with the source material in my opinion. Now, one, for example, is there's an audio log discussing the team, explaining the team discussing whether or not they should accept Brainiac's invite to his ship to talk. And the only person who's really voting on yes, that they should go to his ship and accept his invite is Superman. His excuse is he wasn't given a choice of which ship he was placed in when he went from Krypton to Earth. So it's possible Brainiac wasn't given a choice of what ship he was placed to go to Earth. Yeah, I'm sure someone said, hey, let's put this alien refugee in a giant skull. That's the international symbol of peace amongst the universe, right? And also, Batman wouldn't go on the ship with the rest of the League. He would stay behind while the League, if they decide to go on the ship, so that if something happens, if everything goes to shit, Batman would be, ready to, enact his plan. Okay, let me grab my sidekicks. Let me grab my kid, my adopted children, Nightwing and Robin, to then enact the Babu Protocol, which he does say in the game in his hologram message, which was pretty cool. He does say the Babu Protocol to stop the Justice League. That would have made more sense. And on the topic of Batman, which again doesn't really make sense for the source material, at least for the Arkham universe. If this is 5 years after Arkham Knight, Batman wouldn't be part of the League. He would be, in hiding, considering that Arkham Knight ends with the Nightfall Protocol, which is when the world knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman and he faked his death so that he can secretly work as the fear version of Batman, and therefore Batman wouldn't be in the public as Batman. So it makes no sense for Batman to be part of the Justice League in this current time, given the ending of Arkham Knight. Makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Now, it is pretty clear that it's not the same Rocksteady that developed these Arkham games from the past. Arkham Knight did release 9 years ago, and games do take quite a few years to develop, up to release date, and we do see quite a bit of turnover in gaming companies over the years, especially considering Arkham Asylum came out how many years ago? Arkham Asylum came out probably middle of the PS3 era. And this is more so to the fact that the two co-founders themselves left the company during the development of this game, and I don't have a lot of detail onto that story of why they left, but it's clear that there may have been some disagreement with the higher ups in WB with the whole live service situation, and they left the company. And when you know that when the captains jump ship, it's a problem, and you should maybe jump ship too. And it's possible a lot of other teammates from the OG Rocksteady decided to follow and jump ship as well. Now, the company Rocksteady also refused to release review codes for major outlets, and the assumption is they knew the game was going to flop, so they wouldn't want the codes to go out to the reviewers. Instead, they wanted to cash in on the early access money, but they failed to realize how much the leaks of the game would actually affect their sales. This game leaked heavily online way before the game even released, and that pretty much hurt the sales, in my opinion. Now, there was one source from IGN that stated when they did their preview and gave their thoughts, which was very negative thoughts. They weren't too excited about the game. They had a lot of worry about the game. The source claims that that was a major reason as to why Rocksteady refused to give out review codes. And I'm not saying it's true or not true. I'm saying it's possible. And now we do know that there is a lot of blame to go around for this game's failure. There's, of course, the assholes in the suits at WB who wants the live service games. They want all their future games to be live service only because they think that's the future of gaming, and it's not. You have the idiots at Rocksteady who don't know how to go with source material. They don't know how to research source material. They don't know what source material is, in my opinion, and they're just making up shit out of their asses. And then you have idiots who never heard of playtesting a game before release, because how did you release a game on early access which sells for $100 and you have a crazy bug that on starting the game sends players into 100% game completion, and then you have to shut down the servers for majority of the day to fix that bug on early release date for those who spent the extra money, the $100. So essentially, those who paid cannot play. I also heard a story that those who were affected by this bug, who got the 100% game completion, were given a $20 in-game currency from Rocksteady as a apology to be used on in-game content like additional, I guess, outfits. But apparently that's only worth half of like an outfit set or something. So essentially you still have to put in the extra half that you need to then complete a purchase of a set for your character. So that's going to be an additional half on top of the $100 plus tax you already spent on your early access game that didn't work and gave you the 100% game completion already. Again, those who paid cannot play. So yeah, fuck Rocksteady, fuck WB Games, and thankfully it has been confirmed that this is not Kevin Conroy's last project as Batman. May he rest in peace. Rest in peace to Kevin Conroy. Sad that he is gone, but it's a good thing that he didn't have to see this bullshit. Not saying it's a good thing he dead, don't get me wrong, no, that's not what I'm saying. Saying that, you know, at least he didn't have to see this bullshit. So, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.